What's it for? She asked curiously. For? Cried out Martha. Does that mean they've not skipping ropes in India? For all they've got elephants and tigers and camels. This is what it's for. Just watch me. And she ran into the middle of the room, and taking a handle in each hand, began to skip and skip and skip, while Mary turned in her chair to stare at her, and the queer faces in the old portrait seemed to stare at her too, and wonder what on earth this common little cottager had the impudence to be doing under their very noses. But Martha did not even see them. The interest and curiosity in Mistress Mary's face delighted her, and she went on skipping and counted as she skipped until she had reached 100. I could skip longer than that, she said when she stopped. I've skipped as much as 500 when I was 12, but I wasn't as fat then as I am now, and I was in practice. Mary got up from her chair, beginning to feel excited herself. It looks nice, she said. Your mother is a kind woman. Do you think I could ever skip like that? You just try it, urged Martha, handing her the skipping rope. You can't skip 100 at first, but if you practice, you'll mount up. That's what Mother said. She says nothing will do her more good than a skipping rope. It's the sensiblest toy a child can have. Let her play out in the fresh air skipping, and it'll stretch her legs and arms and give her some strength in 'em. It was plain that there was not a great deal of strength in Mistress Mary's arms and legs when she first began to skip. She was not very clever at it, but she liked it so much that she did not want to stop. Put on the things and run and skip out the doors, said Martha. Mother said I must tell you to keep out of doors as much as you could, even when it rains a bit, so as the wrap up warm. Mary put on her coat and hat and took her skipping rope over her arm. She opened the door to go out, and then suddenly thought of something and turned back rather slowly. Martha, she said, they were your wages. It was your 2 pence, really. Thank you. She said it stiffly because she was not used to thanking people or noticing that they did things for her. Thank you, she said, and held out her hand because she did not know what else to do. Martha gave her hand a clumsy little shake, as if she was not accustomed to this sort of thing either. Then she laughed. Thou art a queer old womanish thing, she said. If tha'd been our Elizabeth Ellen, tha'd given me a kiss. Mary looked stiffer than ever. Do you want me to kiss you? Martha laughed again. Nay, not me, she answered. If that was different, perhaps tha'd want to thyself, but there isn't. Run off outside and play with a rope. Mistress Mary felt a little awkward as she went out of the room. Yorkshire people seemed strange, and Martha was always rather a puzzle to her. At first she disliked her very much, but now she did not. The skipping rope was a wonderful thing. She counted and skipped and skipped and counted, until her cheeks were quite red, and she was more interested than she had ever been since she was born. The sun was shining, and a little wind was blowing, not a rough wind, but one which came in delightful little gusts and brought a fresh scent of newly turned earth with it. She skipped round the fountain garden, and up one walk and down another, She skipped at last into the kitchen garden and saw Ben Weatherstaff digging and talking to his robin, which was hopping about him. She skipped down the walk toward him, and he lifted his head and looked at her with a curious expression. She had wondered if he would notice her. She wanted him to see her skip. "Well," he exclaimed, "upon my word, perhaps thou art a young un after all, and perhaps thou's got child's blood in thy veins instead of sour buttermilk. Thou's skipped red into the cheeks as sure as my name's Ben Weatherstaff. I wouldn't have believed thou could do it." "I never skipped before," Mary said. "I'm just beginning. I can only go up to 20. "Thou keep on," said Ben. "Thy shape's well enough at it for a young un that's lived with heathen. Just see how he's watching thee," jerking his head toward the robin. "He followed thee after yesterday. He'll be at it again today. He'll be bound to find out what the skipping rope is, and he's never seen one. Shaking his head at the bird, "thy curiosity will be the death of thee sometime if thou doesn't look sharp." Mary skipped round all the gardens and round the orchard, resting every few minutes.